Good morning, fans. Welcome to PWR Today. It's Wednesday morning, August 26, 2020. Man, they call Meathead, and to say we have a show that will touch on a bunch of different things that probably have no relation to themselves would be an understatement. To get the show started off, it's Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning. So what you're saying is this is quite the smorgasbord variety pack assortment show we've got for you this morning.
Absolutely. And by no means did I time this out again to have you on when we talk about it like we did last week, but let's talk about one of our brand new sponsors we got in the show. Manscaped. Manscaped.com, and that's Manscaped.com. If you head on over to Manscaped.com, use the promo code PWR, you can get up to 20% off plus free shipping. Now, if you use the product, obviously hit us up with a tweet at PWR360 using the hashtag ManscapedPod. So, Matthew, I know that we talked about it a little bit last week about the Manscaped, and I know it's got the word man in the front of it, right? Manscaped. But honestly, it's a grooming kit. I mean, they got a lot of cool stuff. One of their big packages that are really cool is the one that comes with the toiletry bag, all that other stuff. It can also be used for not just the man. I mean, literally, you can have somebody that goes from, say, shag carpeting to, you got like a little throw rug on the top to, I mean, you could go to hardwood floor if that's what you want to do.
And here's the thing. I mean, to our listeners out there, get creative. If you decide to style up a little PWR or a MT for Matthew Thomas in there, get creative. You've got our Twitter handlers. Send us a picture.
At the real M Thomas.
Yep.
At WCW Meathead. Please send. I don't know if I want pictures. Send those to at Damian Nelson. Maybe you can send those to him at David Hero.
That'd be a nice surprise, right?
But seriously, folks, check out manscaped.com. And, if you're going to be sculpting stuff, maybe the Batman logo. I mean, that'd be fantastic. Get in there, get creative. Again, Matthew, your homework, I think it was from last week, Thursday, it might have been Tuesday, or Friday or Wednesday. I don't remember what day it was. But your homework was to see the change-up with Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds. Have you got that in yet?
See, I thought you said to watch Fastball, so I watched Fastball. I got confused again. Yeah.
I'm telling you, check out that movie. Manscaped.com, and then when you have a minute, help Matthew out with the scene I'm talking about with Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds. So. Also, don't forget Collar and Elbow. I was talking to Dave yesterday morning, and it's become a Sunday tradition for me that I'm in my Shad Gaspard shirt every Sunday outside cooking, outside hanging with the family, because, when I wear it, I think about the hero that Shad was and the father, that he was, and I kind of wear it. And it really did start around Father's Day, too, so it's been kind of my Sunday thing. Matthew, when are you going to be getting your Collar and Elbow collection updated?
You know what? I really need to. I need to add that to my wardrobe immediately. I want to grab that. I also want to grab, I don't know if you've seen the Collar and Elbow in the Waffle House font. I really want to grab that one as well.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yep.
That's a big one.
So those are two on the top of my list there.
Promo code PWR360 at Collar and Elbow, and that's going to get you 10% off as well. So manscaped.com, 20% off, free shipping with the code PWR. Collar and Elbow. With the promo code PWR360, you'll get you 10% off. So make sure you're taking care of our sponsors, and they're bringing out this content for you and helping us pay for everything. So thank you to all our sponsors. Matthew, like I said this morning, to wake everybody up with a little meathead in your cup, we've got some topics that have no relation to each other. Let's just get into it, right? Let's do it. Is that what you say?
Absolutely. And I do want to add, since Manscaped has been a sponsor, there's quite a bit less pulp in my cup of Meathead.
Gross. Let's go. All right. During Monday Night's Raw, just a couple nights ago, I wondered when it was going to happen with all these video screens and all these eyes watching. Again, was it on a 7-second delay, a 14-second delay? What was it going to be? When was it going to be that we were getting just ridiculous video? It's happened again. somebody displaying a KKK Ku Klux Klan video, and apparently somebody had a still shot of Chris Benoit on the damn screen. Matthew, your thoughts on, I don't think this will deter WWE, but your thoughts on how do they censor this? How do they take care of this?
They've got to be more careful than they currently are. I don't know how long the delay is, or what the vetting process, or how many people they've got working. But I mean, you're going to get to a point where, unfortunately, you're probably going to have one person on each of these people in the arena making sure they're not doing any of that garbage. And it's absolutely disgusting, because WWE being innovative, during this time that is so abnormal for everybody, trying to give a little bit of normalcy to the population in the aspect that they can, and this is about as close to normal as you're going to get right now, doing that, going that extra effort of having Amway for the foreseeable future, and
till Halloween, apparently.
Yeah. And you've got these absolute clowns that jeopardize it for everybody.
Unbelievable. You say the phrase normalcy, and giving them normalcy. I and Matthew, I know you did too. Did you see in its entirety? I want to make sure the 24 that aired directly after SummerSlam about the day that almost didn't happen with WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, I did. Thought it was very, very well done. And I mean, as this year has unfolded, it's been goes without saying, this is going to be a year there's probably going to be a lot of documentaries about. It's going to be talked about for a very long period of time. So in a lot of ways, this was kind of the first recounting of that initial month or so of the lockdown. And it was kind of the first piece putting it into a little more of a historical perspective, which I would much rather have some distance from this and this be over to be able to look at it from the full historical perspective. But no, this was a very well done piece from WWE Documentaries. They tend to knock it out of the park with these productions, and did a very, very good job on this one as well.
It's funny you say that, because Bruce Pritchard said that this is probably something that's going to be talked about for a long time. What was it like when you had no fans there? The one thing that keeps getting talked about over and over is Edge made his return to the ring after 9 years of not wrestling and not being in WWE, and he returns to the ring in front of no one. What got forgotten? Granted, he was wrestling the whole time, but he wasn't in WWE or WrestleMania. John Morrison also coming back, and that's his first WrestleMania back with no one there.
Very true. Very true. A lot of firsts. I mean, you think about the response that Edge would have gotten. You think, of course, about the response that McIntyre would have gotten. I mean, just a lot of those moments for guys that, and they touched a lot on Rhea Ripley, her first WrestleMania. So just a lot of those people whose, moments were just, I don't want to say taken away, but
not stolen.
They were largely transformed, and that's one thing that I am enjoying now with the fans in the arena in the capacity that they are, is really watching their reaction to McIntyre and watching McIntyre's reaction to what he's seen on the screen, because this is a guy, and you knew the story, but this really, really encapsulated the whole McIntyre story. They did a great job of kind of summarizing everything. And just what a great resurgence he has had with his return to WWE, and now being on top of that mountain. So you really got a lot of highlights and a lot of backstory on people that I was not aware of. I gained a great deal of new respect for Braun Strowman, getting a little bit of his background and a little bit of how much all of this seems to mean to him. Outside of what you see weekly as the character, I really hadn't familiarized myself with a lot of Braun Strowman's story and everything, and just the little bit that you got in this really made you kind of cheer for the guy.
There's a little bit more to Braun Strowman's story, so we like to take a little bit of pride in Braun Strowman. While he said he was raised in North Carolina, spent a lot of time here in Wisconsin. Now, he mentioned in there that when he went home to his property in Wisconsin, that he gets a call right away from WWE's office and says, hey, we need you. We need you. There's a jet in the air on its way now to come get you. So he had to haul ass to the Waukesha, what was the exact term? I forget what I'm embarrassed to say this because we go by it, Matthew. I've got a story on that in a second. But it's like Waukesha International Airport or whatever. But it's honestly, it's mostly all grass. There's a couple of runways there. It's just for jets back and forth. It's not the big airport in Wisconsin. The big airport is obviously Mitchell International in Milwaukee, where the flights kick off. But again, with Chicago being so close, Chicago O'Hare Airport, that's where all the international flights. But anyway, I digress. So it's ironic, Matthew, for those that don't know, and you didn't know until I told you pre-show here, you've seen that airport before. It's located right next to the home of Great Lakes Championship Wrestling's Blizzard Brawl every year. Literally. I mean, they bump. Yep. I mean, the properties touch each other. So there's the airport. And then once the fence is there, boom, we're at the arena at the Waukesha County Expo Center. So it's funny. You didn't know that. You had actually been to that airport. And Braun's probably somewhere in the neighborhood, 20, 30 minutes away, whatever. Braun has a history, like I said, in the Wisconsin area. His first name for his character, do you know where it comes from?
No, I do not.
Milwaukee Brewers outfielder Ryan Braun.
I did not know that. It's an interesting piece of trivia.
Yeah, so there's a picture somewhere on WWE.com, but there's a picture of Braun and Braun together. So yeah, it was great to hear this part of the story because Braun is the monster among men. He's you get to hear a little bit how Braun was bullied as a child, and he goes to a gym and says, "Hey, look, I'm tired of getting picked on. Can you help me? Can you help me fix this?" He says the guy never charged him a gym membership, taught him how to eat, taught him how to train. He's won world strongman competitions. Mark Henry literally paid for his flight to go get a tryout. So, I mean, he's got to love Mark Henry forever. I mean, so the era of the big man really belongs to Mark Henry right now. And matter of fact, didn't we talk about that where he was on the Stone Cold podcast or whatever Steve Austin's calling his new show now? The Broken Skull Sessions, I think it is.
Yeah, I believe we touched on that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Mark Henry is literally ushering in the age of the big man again with Keith Lee. I mean, he's getting all these guys up and going. So happy to hear. It shook me just a little bit because it's a show, but it shook me a little bit to see him get emotional about it because I mean, this is a big monster among men. We joke obviously about the country pride that he's got tattooed on his bicep. From that one picture you found on the internet 4 years ago when you were swiping left or right, whatever you were doing. But I'm a big fan of Braun Strowman.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's amazing how just a little bit of insight and a little, probably 5 to 10 minutes of combined footage, what that can do to your perception of somebody. But they did a great job of really making him connect with the fans on this piece.
There's irony in what you just said. 5 to 10 minutes of footage can change your perception. That's what happened for me with Alexa Bliss. Mm-hmm. Remember, I said I watched the R-Truth show? I'm like, wow, she is adorable. Boom. I see Alexa Bliss differently now. Yeah. And that was 5 to 10 minutes of footage. Let me ask you this. Let me make a hypothetical right here. Let's just pump the brakes on whatever we were doing. Give me a hypothetical. Who could give us 5 to 10 minutes of footage right now and just turn your absolute image of that person around? Be it somebody that you absolutely love or absolutely, just don't have anything for.
Oh my goodness.
That's a loaded one, right?
Yeah, it really is. Man, that's a tough one. That is.
Shoot from the hip. Shoot it out.
Gronk.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I got about 5 minutes of footage from him, and I like him less.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's kind of what I was alluding to. I thought maybe on this I might get a little bit more insight into some of the clowning and this, that, and the other, but my
the Gronk I got on this 24. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. My perception's still about the same. Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll throw one out there. Give me 5 to 10 minutes of Roman just being around his family, having a good time.
Yeah. I can see that, and I think honestly, the more people get to know Roman, and I mean, the man separated from the character, I think that's probably an easy one. I think that's an easy one to sway, the haters, if you will. And I mean, I think that the fans, to the fans' credit, I mean, I think after his return, you had a lot of that sentiment go away. So I think fans are starting to come around on him. But you saw it. I think you eventually saw it with John Cena as well. I think the more fans got to connect with John Cena outside of the ring, and more of what the business meant to him, more of the Make-A-Wish type of stuff, I think people, eventually came around to him as well too. And I dare say, you get fans back in arenas, and you have a surprise John Cena appearance. I mean, I think the pop is going to be deafening. I think the fans have eventually come around with him, and I think that we're getting there with Roman as well.
Good. Speaking of John Cena, and speaking of 24, after I got done watching this 24 that aired right after SummerSlam, guess what I went back and watched?
Saturday night's main event,
no.
1989?
No, but the Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania with Bray Wyatt / The Fiend. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
And I know that I did live reaction stuff with Damian Nelson the night of. Matter of fact, I was on the call with him in the Meathead studios, if you will, and Damian in the PWR studios, going, "What is going on?" And I'm like, it's okay. I mean, it's cool, neat little things. I mean, I don't hate it. But yeah, it. You go back and watch that WrestleMania again, and boy, we were ready to analyze, criticize, hype, the Undertaker AJ Styles match. Still, I thought was an amazing cinematic, boy, let's try that again. Cinematic match that really set a tone. Unfortunately, we got the swamp fight at Extreme Rules after that, but I went back and watched it again, and I didn't hate it.
And one thing that I'm trying to keep in mind during this time period too is this is not the direction WWE is going permanently. This is something that is, being put out there.
I would say the Thunderdome is more permanent than anything else. Yeah. They're awaiting the ability to start putting fans in the seats, and Daly's Place is leading the way. And I'll let you finish your thought, but we are leading towards AEW.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I meant with the cinematic matches, I think that this is, kind of a once in a blue moon type occurrence where it's like, all right, we've got to do something different, and it gives them more liberties than they would normally take. But and I think that is one of the benefits of being, in Amway, being in a building that size, is when you get to a point where you can start letting fans in, to a certain percentage of capacity. You've got a large building versus a small building, so you can theoretically get more people in, even if it's just 10 to 15%. I mean,
let's talk about NFL very quickly. SoFi Stadium this year, and the new I forget the name of the building, the sponsored name of the Las Vegas Raiders, are going to open 2 empty buildings.
Yeah.
I mean, SoFi was $1 billion and a half. And it's going to, house the Chargers and the Rams, and then the one in Vegas is going to be, the Raiders, and they're not going to have anybody in there for at least the first, maybe second home games.
Yeah. Just a strange world we're in at the moment.
Yeah, and don't get me started on the world we live in right now. Matthew, let's move on. Let's talk AEW. This was a press release from AEW on August 20th, and it's coming up really tomorrow night. They will, for the first time ever, be allowing 10% fans in the building at Daly's Place. They are going to try to allow fans in. Now, I'm going to read some of the press release here. This is, like I said, from last week, Thursday. To safely bring back the energy of a live audience at AEW shows in compliance with state and local regulations and CDC guidelines, a select number of physically distanced seating pods will be available for sales in groups of 2, 3, 4, and 6 around the outdoor venue. For the first ticketed show on August 27th, which again will be tomorrow night, a maximum crowd of 10% capacity will be permitted going forward as long as all safety protocols are followed meticulously. A maximum crowd of 15% capacity will be permitted for all live events at Daly's Place. I think it's bold, but I'm ready. Let's see what we can do. Now, the one thing I thought of right away, excuse my cough here. The one thing I thought of right away is how are they going to handle transactions, entering the building, moving around the building. Guests will be required to wear face coverings that cover the nose and mouth and to physically distance from any person who is not a member of their pod. Guests will also be asked not to attend the day of the show if they have COVID-19, symptoms of COVID-19, and have had close contact or exposure to someone who they know has had COVID-19 or symptoms. Florida is a hotbed of just nasty right now. In addition, all guests will have their temperatures scanned prior to entry, of course. An increased number of hand sanitizing stations will be available, and floor markings will also be used to assist with physical distancing. Now, industrial fans were also added this year to further improve the air circulation at the open-air venue. As a further safeguard, all tickets will be mobile and may only be purchased online. No box office sales. Daly's Place will also transition to cashless payment and mobile ordering for most transactions, including food and merchandise. I wondered about the food and merchandise because what's the point of going to a venue if you can't go grab some swag, grab a soda, grab some pretzels, grab some popcorn, and just hang out and have a good time. Matthew, what's your thoughts?
I'm excited. I mean, it is bold. The thing of it is somebody has got to do it first and be the first one to do it. I mean, it's going to have to happen at some point. It sounds like they're taking the precautions that they can. I mean, they're taking all the precautions they can at the moment outside of not having anybody in the stadium. So I'm very curious as to watching this and seeing how it comes across. And it might only be 10 to 15% capacity, but I imagine those 10 to 15% is going to sound like a stadium full of people because, you've got these wrestling fans that have been cooped up for months and not able to do anything of this nature. I think I was actually at the next to the last show before their AEW live events got suspended. And that was early March. So it's been a long time of people not being able to do anything that closely resembled this. So I look very forward to seeing the way it visually looks, but I look forward to seeing the enthusiasm and the excitement from these fans. And I think that, wrestling, I think concerts, I think the live event industry, once this thing gets behind us and we gradually get back to that state of normalcy, I think, if these promotions and these venues can hang on, I think that is going to be a thriving industry because people, they've so greatly missed it, in the summertime, it's time of year where I normally go to a decent amount of concerts and live events. And
I mean, our own Linda Kay she is our concert girl here on the program. I mean, she's, missed out how many shows already this year? Cause that's, Linda Kay is our resident concert goer. So, well, I get
Summerfest there for you guys. I mean, it's one of those things that people bookmark the years by. And I think that's one reason why 2020 in a lot of ways has felt like it's just slowly dragged on, but also gone by very quick, is you don't have these normal things that kind of subconsciously give you the indication of, okay, this is springtime, this is summer, this is fall. And it's just seemed like this strange year that's been going by extremely quick, but slow at the same time. And I think once we start getting back to being able to do those things, those industries are going to boom. We just got to get to that point.
Yeah, not only boom, but the people that work behind the scenes as well. And it's ironic too that it's being launched technically at Daly's Place, but that is also the home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, as we saw, in the matches outside Daly's Place. So, Khan, I believe it's his father that owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. I wonder if that'll be their plan for Jacksonville Jaguar home games as well. And that's, again, they're in the unique opportunity for that to be happening there. WWE made a deal with the Amway Center, which is where the Orlando Magic are at. So maybe they work in, some screens and some people, some screens, some people, some screens, some people, There's a path, folks. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a lot longer than we had thought it would take. I mean, technically our Milwaukee AEW show was postponed, until October or whatever this year. That's not going to happen until next year. They just, push the dates out, and hopefully we can get to a point where we can actually start coming back to, events again. And, people have been working. They've been working more. We're back to work, but we really have no place to put our money. This will be a real shot in the arm for the economy as well. So lots of things happening, Matthew. Like I said, all the topics that we have really have nothing to do with each other. But, we have lots of things going on this week.
Yeah, there is certainly no shortage of things to talk about. That's for sure. Some good, some not so good.
Well, we went overtime, Matthew. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Manscaped.com, Collar and Elbow. Make sure you get yourself some T-shirts and some paraphernalia, some swag, and make sure you get on over to Manscaped.com and take care of all that area that you haven't touched because you haven't left the house and it's just sitting there growing. Make sure you trim those weeds. So, for Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.